Hey, what's up? It's Peter Rosenberg, ESPN, WWE, Hot 97, all that stuff. I'm live from New York City right now. I'm hanging with Bear the dog, and you're not listening to the worst podcast, but at the same time, it's not the best podcast. No, literally, you're listening to not the best podcast. All right? Talking about real life issues, real life things, real talk, real people. All right? Not the best podcast. I'm Peter Rosenberg. Peace.
Welcome to the podcast. It's not the best podcast, but the expectation's in the name, so you can't say we didn't warn you. Alongside Naldo, alongside Reg, it's me, the D-I-Z. Welcome to 2021, fellas.
we just live it. I usually laugh my ass off after you say it, but I held it back this time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's been a while since we recorded. It felt
new
good
year,
to
new
actually
me.
do it
You
again.
feel
I know,
me?
you practicing straight in 2020.
Straight from 2020. I was like, I ain't laughing at that shit no more, man.
This is
So
familiar.
Yeah, man. So on today's episode, we got our good friend, Mr. Chris Perryman.
Big Chris, insert clap, y'all.
And cheer.
Chris is
Appreciate y'all. I'm using my son's new iPad and I don't know how to use this shit. So my apologies on that. But
My man
yeah, I
said-
appreciate y'all.
You say, yo, I gotta do this podcast in a couple of weeks, man. Let me just go ahead and get him this iPad real fast. But I'm gonna have to hold it though.
Chris is the owner and executive chef over at CNA Caterers.
Yeah, CA Catering Events.
CA Catering Events. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, for those who follow the Instagram page, I brought in Chris to help me with my corporate lunch. For Christmas.
Looked
And,
like he
yeah.
delivered too,
Yeah,
fam.
it was
Looked like he did.
It was a fantastic spread, man. We had
Thank you.
the beef with the pomegranate jus,
What?
Yeah, fancy.
the chipotle barbecue chicken apricot
What?
situation.
Yeah.
You don't put blueberries in your macaroni and cheese, do you?
No, I don't do that.
You wanna
I was
make
actually
sure,
about to
you
ask-
wanna make sure we're not experimenting too much.
I wanted to make it because he told me he's a tough critic with food. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do something crazy and
Yeah.
and more towards the holidays.
Yeah,
So me and my
House.
other chef sat down and we came up with something. I was like, all right, we know this is gonna knock them out the park.
Nice.
yeah, it was delicious, man. All my coworkers, my boss.
Thank you.
He was like, "Oh my god, the what do you call the broccoli rabe is so garlicky, it's delicious." Like, oh man, I guess I picked a good one.
Made that man look good, Chris.
Hey man, it's vice versa, man. Because a lot of people don't like to, especially friends or people you associate with, they don't like to use you, support your businesses because they don't think you take it serious. So I always appreciate when anyone uses me that I know and I like to deliver.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, what people don't understand is this is my business. This is my name on it. So anything I do, I'm going to do. I'm not moving on black people time. You get what I'm saying? Like everything's got to be efficient. So it's appreciated whenever anyone gives me that opportunity. We have to come through correct.
Yeah, for sure,
For
sure. So how's your holidays, guys? It was
Christmas
good,
was
man.
fun, bro. New Year's was even better. Son, you know what? Let me tell you something about a COVID holiday season, bro. Like nobody asked for much. Like you do your own thing, you move on your own time, man. Like it was refreshing, son. It was refreshing. I had a good one, bro.
Oh man, I don't know if people saw but on the Instagram, but my wife and I paid a visit to Reg and his wife for the holidays. Well, like New Year's or pre-New Year's.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Tuesday.
This guy Reg is exercising his baking abilities. He had the fresh pies for take home, like whole ass pies.
Big
whole-
bake.
Big
I
bake.
saw that. I didn't know. I thought you bought that from somewhere.
Nah,
No.
man. Hey, yo, Chris,
Okay.
listen, man. I dabble just like you, dog. Like,
Come on, man. It's Reggie LaBelle.
you know what I'm saying?
All right.
LaBelle. Nah, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've this quarantine, man. I just been dabbling in the kitchen, doing this and that. Like, you know what I mean? The baking thing, yes. Cooking thing, absolutely. But
He also made fresh churros, which are
and I made churros, yeah, man. So I'm out here in these streets.
Yo, I'm thoroughly impressed, yo. Like, I don't know what, like, Reg has never made me anything. So like seriously, I don't know what like I couldn't tell you what Reg's signature dish is, but now that Reg is making Dutch apple pies and churros, you know what I mean? Like I'm
Just
Right,
know,
I don't even believe it. Like
just let
I
me
gotta
know
take up
when
a
you
trip.
coming through, man. I'm gonna take care of you, bro. I'm
Nah,
gonna take care of you.
and I'm gonna hold
and
you
it
to
looked,
that.
and
No,
it
no,
looked
no, no,
straight out of a
100%.
bakery. It looked like it
Listen,
was straight out
man,
of a
listen.
bakery, man. It was impressive.
I've had a couple people taste some of my products, bro, and like I hear the whispers in the air, man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
to get a
There
hold
you
of the
go.
product.
Side
You know what I'm
hustle,
saying?
side hustle.
I had you know how it worked, man. You give people a little sample, you know what I'm saying? Hit the streets
Hmm.
with the product a little bit, and then it's just like, yo, son, I want more. I'm like, listen, this one's attached with a tag. Like, you know what I'm saying? This one got a price with
Right,
it. Like, you know what I mean?
right.
So I don't
But
know,
you
man. I
you
don't
say it as
know.
a joke, but it's true, you know. I mean,
Bro, I'm not
it's not like
joking.
Chris got into it, you know what I mean? Like
I'm
you
100% not joking, bro. Like,
yeah.
I make cheesecakes now, man. I'm doing all kinds of like cool shit, bro.
Ah,
Like,
Man,
hustling,
there's a
bro.
market for
Hustle.
all that
There
shit.
is.
yo, bro.
There is.
Seriously.
People
Listen,
need it.
the
And
people
people
need it.
I'd
Dudes,
rather
do
buy
the
from
people
you
need it, fam?
than ShopRite or Publix. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
Bro,
right. My
What?
actually, my chocolate chip cookie game is pretty strong too right now, bro.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
Oh yeah.
goddamn strong,
Wait,
son.
so he made chocolate chip cookies, but he made it with 3 different chocolate chips,
yeah.
Yeah.
and he
We'll
dropped them
switch
off
it
at my
up.
house for Christmas.
I didn't even know there
So he
was
had the dark
3 different.
chocolate, the
Oh,
semi-sweet, and the milk chocolate.
whoa!
Yeah, I know.
What?
And I bit into one, and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And I bit into another one, and I was like, "Oh, this is not the same cookie."
Right, right. That's the
But
effect I was going for.
yeah,
I'm
I had
going
to
for
text him.
rustic, Chris. I'm
I
going
And
had
for
to,
rustic.
Deuce is a critic. He's a strong critic when it comes to cookies.
Yo,
yeah,
my
Because he
man
bites
hit me
into it and
up. It
takes a
was,
break first. He's like,
good.
and then just looks at it, and then
Yeah,
he
you got
blends it.
yo, son texts me at 8 a.m., yo. Son texts me at 8 a.m. He says, yo, what kind of morsels are in these? So I ran down the list to him, and then he goes, I was like, yo, I hope you like them shits. He was like, yo, son, I had 4 of them before, and I didn't even brush my teeth yet.
Word, man. That's exactly what happened.
So, Naldo, let me know when you come up, man. I'm going to take care of you, dog.
Yeah,
But make
for
sure you
sure,
go
bro.
see Chris and his business first. Support that
Yeah,
first.
yeah. I got you. I
come to
got
the
you.
civilians.
I got you.
So
I'll
Chris,
take
what?
care of you something.
So
Chris, you
what?
guys desserts?
Oh,
Yeah, we do desserts too.
oh, he had the chocolate chip
And,
cookies too, though, dog.
and we
Yo,
do like we did for Valentine's Day, I think last year, the year before, we did some vegan desserts. So we do vegan stuff too.
Nice.
How long you
And
guys
we
been in?
did well, we've been around. Well, this one I just reopened. I just started in October, but the previous one prior to that I had for like 5 years. And I had a partner, just some things happened, and COVID revealed a lot, and I was able to see a couple things, so I had to move solo going forward.
So
And then
what
I
made you
changed.
want? What made you want to get into the culinary game? I guess.
It's funny because my mother was an event planner and a wedding planner, and when we were in high school, she was doing like a lot of celebrity events. And at the time, I was like, I want to be an entertainment lawyer, but I hate school, so that wasn't happening, right? And she would once I got to like junior year, she'd be like, hey, I'm doing this party for Puffy. You want to come? Grab 2 friends. I'm like, all right, cool. Call 2 of my friends up. We go pick them up, go into the city. And she give us the big ass red cups and tell any of the bartenders to give them whatever they want all night. And I'm just like, man, I'm around celebrities, I'm around this person. I'm like, man, that's what I want to do. And when I was in school, she got me a job with this Italian catering company called Scusi Events. And it's a husband and wife. They're from Italy, like off the boat, and they're out of their fucking minds, both of them. Like one will tell you to do one thing in the setup, and then the wife will come and be like, what the fuck is this? Take all this down, da 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 da. So I learned a lot from them, and then I figured if I'm gonna go into this industry, I might as well learn every aspect of it. So I did multimedia setup. I was doing venue sales for law spaces, and then from there I transitioned into corporate, and I was doing law firms. I was at Morgan Stanley, a couple of law firms, Prudential Center. I was running the catering there, and then I ended up at Pace University last. And I was doing all this an intern with my company.
Wow.
So it was like a good side gig, and then after a while, you start to realize like, why am I busting my ass for these people? Because everyone's expendable, right?
Yeah.
In corporate, that's how they look at you. And then I'm the type of person that I'll be sick as a dog, and I'll still come into work and work. And then as you get older, you start to realize, like, the fuck am I doing this for? Like, why am I killing myself for them? I made them X amount of dollars and they don't want to come up 10,000 for a raise, you know? So it's like, and then I feel like I've always had a problem with authority and people tell me what to do. So I came to the realization that I can't work for anyone. I need to work for myself. And I kind of started going hard, like really hard, the end of 2019. And the beginning of 2020, we had a ton of contracts. We were supposed to do something for the BET Awards in LA, and then COVID hit. So
yeah.
So now it's like starting from scratch again. But you know, I take it as a blessing because at the end of the day, you know, I got to work with myself during COVID, and like Reg said, the first half of COVID, all I was doing was coming up with new dishes, trying new things out, and like so, you know, my wife loved it because the first couple of months she was eating real good every day, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like every day it was something different, like so extravagant shit. So that was cool. And then you know, I started going hard again right now, and I'm trying to, like the last 3 months I've been prepping for this year. And that's where we're kind of at right now. And I'm working on becoming an approved vendor for the city at the moment.
Excellent.
So that's the end goal. Once, if I get in there, it's a game changer. So it's constant revenue. You know, their contracts. You'll get a contract for like 6 months, and it's a 7-day operation.
Oh man.
So you know the money's constantly coming in.
Yeah.
So that's my goal right now. I've been working on that, and as you can imagine, they're tedious as fuck. And what they require, like just one of the things, like they say on the thing, you have to prove. So it's called MWBE, Minority Owned Business Program. And what the city did was they put in a program for minorities so that you can get an equal share of contracts in the city as everyone else. So they kind of even the playing field, but you have to, you know, prove you're black or a minority, this and that. So I sent, like, just for one of the things, like they tell you send your passport. I sent my passport. The lady calls me back and was like, yeah, well, you know, it doesn't say you're black on your passport. I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
it wasn't taken in the dark.
Yeah, you know. So then she's like, you're gonna have to use your birth certificate. So I'm like, all right, let me look at my birth certificate. I was born in the UK. So I look at my birth certificate. It doesn't say shit about being black. And she's like, oh, your mother's there or something. So I asked my mother. Mother's like, my birth certificate back then didn't say what your race was. So I'm like, man, I don't even know what the fuck to do with as far as that part, like medical records or what, because I don't know what other way to prove I'm black. So it's just, you know, they're funny like that, but I'm working on it.
That's crazy how every other situation, like, look at this black guy. Like, they try to use some money and level the playing field. It's like, now you got to prove it now.
Naldo, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Naldo. Every joke you just said just didn't count. It's not going to hit now. It's not going to hit. I put him in the corner. So.
I'm just in my little box. It's all right. But man, it's crazy that you have to now figure out how to prove that you're black. That is kind of
that is the craziest shit I ever.
He's like, you're not going to try to figure it out.
I was like, I think they're fucking with me now. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I never like. And the shit said passport, and then she tells me, no, that's not good enough. So
do you know
like, what?
Do you know how to dance?
Yeah, I could.
Like rap? Do you know how to rap?
Nah,
play basketball?
Send him a hair
I can play ball. I could do. Yeah, seriously.
You can play basketball for them.
It's like I don't know what I need to do, so I'm gonna talk to. Like I have a connect that's trying to help me out through. So I'm gonna talk to him and just like, well, you know, dude, what am I supposed to do?
You got to connect with the Black Proving Agency.
Yeah, I do.
So
I do.
great.
I do. I'm not going into the situation solo.
Yeah,
I had to bring in some reinforcements behind the scenes.
The big guns in.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. That's another thing I have to talk to them about because they just like they require because I filed this company as a corporation, so they're telling me they're like we need corporate bylaws, we need this, we need that, we need stock bonds, and I'm like, man, I'm the sole owner, I'm 100% everything, so it doesn't apply to me. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but this is what we want. So I'm just like, you know what, you got to play by their rules and. You know,
yeah.
So I'm working on it, and they give you 30 days, then another 30 days after that, and after that, you know. So hopefully I can get all this done by February, God willing.
You got it, brother. You got it, man.
Yeah, man.
It's
I
funny
mean,
what you said a little earlier, man, when you was talking about how like you stretch from one business to the next. I love the way like we communicate with each other. It's like, yeah, man, it just didn't work out. COVID showed a lot of shit.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
So, needless to say, I felt like I picked something extra up out of that.
Me
I was
too.
just like, oh man, I don't think he's still talking to Buddy.
At all.
Yeah, at all. No communication since. Like
Uh,
literally.
it's for the
I'm
better.
just yeah, like I just tell people I'm not gonna throw dirt and so it's not my style. I like to keep it moving. It's all positive vibes, at least I'm trying to be on all positive vibes.
That was the realest way to do it, though. He was like, listen,
Right.
man, COVID showed some colors. It was a small pause there because he was thinking about it. Like, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, it was seriously. It was like I'm like COVID is as sucky as 2020 was. I'm like it was a gift and a curse. COVID didn't happen. Like I said, I had like 15 contracts,
yeah.
and we were supposed to do VAT awards. A lot of money would have been coming in. So by COVID happening, like I said, I was able to see some things, and I'm glad that I didn't go into it. I would have been in too deep at that point had COVID not happened. So. That's the one positive about this year, and then you work on yourself. Like with me, I have a temper, so I was like, I got to get on what do I call it? I call it the Marion Zen. That's what I've been working on. The art of a Marion. Yeah, the art of a Marion. That's what I call it, the art of a Marion. That dude just gives zero fucks about everything, right?
yeah,
So I'm
it's
like.
true.
Like the thing with his baby mother, like I saw that, I'm like, this dude, like, it's not even an act. Like he literally is unbothered.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get to that level. The little things don't bother me.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been working on, like just controlling what I can control and not stressing over,
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the BS.
that's something that I think we learn in sports, right? It's like control what you can control, and those two things that you can control are always your effort and your attitude. Those are the only two things in life that you can control. And I think that if you go into everything with a good attitude and your efforts always A1, then whatever the result is, you can never be disappointed.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, man. So I mean, obviously we've all had our own experiences with black-owned businesses. And me personally, I always try to promote black-owned businesses. And it's weird for me to say like black-owned businesses, right? Because we don't look at any other group and characterize their businesses as X-owned business, right?
Right.
So it's like a double-edged sword, because of course you want to promote your own, you want to ensure that people who look like you are getting the opportunities, but at the same time it's like when things go wrong, they all get thrown into the same pot.
Right.
They all get thrown into the same pot. So I remember before we started the podcast, when we were doing our our little Zoom conversations,
I knew he was gonna bring this one up.
you had to, right? So I remember Daldo was talking to our guy G, and he was having an issue with a local establishment, and this place has been around forever, right? So it's been around for like 30 years, at least, probably longer than that. Because I remember when I was a kid in East Orange, they were around, and I'm 35 now, and
You getting too narrow now, dog.
yeah, I know.
I'm curious to hear what places.
We don't have a sponsor yet, man. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But this place is notorious for their poor customer service,
Right.
and so he had got on on Facebook, he was blasting them, right?
Yo.
So I think me and Naldo had to jump in, more Naldo than me, but it's like he generalized them, and why black-owned business XYZ, because he felt like he didn't want to mention the establishment. But at the same time, now you're generalizing black-owned business, and it kind of, and no one knows who specifically you're talking about, but that deters people from wanting to work with black-owned businesses, because again, you're general, all these general things happen, and
Especially during the cancel culture.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And in that conversation, I was like, the thing is with black-owned businesses, like we have to exercise like a level of, what's the word?
Graciousness.
Yes, and intention, right? Because if our intention is to, make sure that our people are good, our own, are good, then I think we have to approach the situation a little differently than we would with a regular business, quote unquote. Not to say that we can excuse poor customer service, but the way that we manage it, or manage our responses, has to be different. Right? Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
get what you're
do.
saying.
I do. I agree because if you do generalize, I always am down with like constructive criticism. Essentially to help that black owned business, maybe you need to talk to a manager and be like, listen, man, this is my experience right now, bro. And the way we're moving is not going to be conducive to your success. Like, you know what I'm saying? Having those conversations, will they go over well? Maybe not. You know what I'm saying?
But at least you tried.
I mean,
At least you tried, and you're not blasting them. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I think that what you guys, I 100% understand G's frustration, right? Because we've all been a part of that. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, in one way or another. But in the same breath, like, to generalize, you kind of put a black mark on all black businesses, and it makes people second guess that I shouldn't mess with this particular business because, of a person's skin color or the owner's skin color. Like, I mean, I don't know if they could prove it. You know what I'm saying? Because what Chris is going through, but I mean, it's just one of those situations where, yeah, man, you can't generalize. You have to be more direct with what you're saying.
I think even with saying like black owned business, I think we should probably cut that word out in itself. Because when we think about it, like as soon as you say black owned business, there comes with a
Negative connotation.
a negative connotation. Like you
Right.
already know, like I have to make some type of
Concession.
concession to them. You know what I mean? It's just is what it's gonna be. Even when Chris started speaking, he was like, I'm not on black colored time. And it's just, not everyone is like that. Not all black
Right,
people are
right.
like that. And I do think, I mean, when I was speaking to G before, yeah, I didn't like the fact that it was generalized, but I don't think we should make concessions to businesses just because they're black owned. I think we
Right.
should hold them to the same degree we hold any other business owner. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a business.
I have a question for Chris. So, when you started the business, right? Is that something that played in your mind because you're a black man starting a business that people will look at you a certain kind of way or have certain expectations for your business because it's black owned?
Yeah, without a doubt. To be honest, at first, like on social media, when I was with my partner, I told him, I was like, dude, we're not even putting pictures of ourselves up there. I'm like, I don't want anyone knowing
That's
what our race
crazy.
is. You know?
You know what's the craziest part about that? Is because black people are in the kitchen in every single restaurant in America.
Everywhere.
We
everywhere.
are the culinary
Everywhere.
artists.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
then-
If you
But to
don't
put
got
your face-
no
Yeah, it's kinda
no
crazy.
sazon in your body, like
No.
any
Right.
kind of flavor, whatever. I don't want that. I don't know if I want your food.
I read an article yesterday about how black people spread soul food throughout the whole world and brought the infusion of soul food in Asia and in Europe and stuff like that. And then it's crazy how we're afraid to put our faces as the representation of the business.
Right. And that's the sad part because the way I look at it is due to the stigma with being a black business, I might not get I want clientele from all races, all walks of life. I don't give a shit what your sexual or I don't care. Business is business. But I didn't want to get clumped into one category and just for black people. And at the same time, you could have some other races that are hesitant because you're a black business, right? So they're gonna go to what you just said, Reg, to the stigma of what you guys are talking about with your friend talking badly about one business, right? That carries a lot of weight, and people don't even realize it. And because of that, it affects most businesses. You have to move differently and see how you're going to move because people are hesitant. And that's why at first there wasn't one picture of us on there. Everything was just the food and the presentation. And then when we started doing more, specifically the end of 2019, a lot of the clients were like, man, you got to show your faces, man. You got to, you guys are great. You're professional, da-da-da-da. So we put a picture or two up. And I still don't really like doing it like that until I feel I've reached where I'm trying to get to. It's unfortunate, but that's just where we're at with stuff, right?
Do you remember the reaction that you got when people found out that you and your partner were black?
Yeah, I got a lot of likes.
You got the most likes. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know.
right. Got a lot of likes. I think it
Felt like
caught some
Barack.
people off guard. Yeah, because people even with like catering, people see catering and they assume automatically if you're a minority, like you're doing it out your kitchen at your
Right.
house. Like no, we have a professional kitchen. We use real facilities to do everything.
I assumed
So
that actually. I
yeah,
assumed that.
did
I was
not,
like,
man.
oh, I was like, I wonder where he's probably doing this out of his house. It's crazy to do catering, but yeah, no, that's great.
They got those
right,
commercial kitchens, man. And if you really about your business, you will rent your time, go in and out. And,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I've been doing my research, yo.
Because you a baker
Yeah,
now,
I know.
Reggie Crocker.
Yeah.
No, dog.
You'll invest, and then
Mr. Butterworth.
and then the mess that it will cause with your kitchen is crazy.
Insane.
Like,
Especially
like
the volume that you're doing it at.
Yeah, I saw
Right.
the Full House. They was trying to handle that. They couldn't do it.
Full
Full House. Family Matters.
it's
Family
real
Matters.
though, because I did something for a charter school in 2020, and normally we did it out the kitchen. This one time I didn't have any other of my chefs, so I had to do it from my house. Man, the worst. I was like, never again.
Yeah.
I had to pay a cleaning lady to clean it. It was that bad,
Oh man.
and to keep the peace with my wife,
Yeah,
So
Right.
I was gonna ask.
yeah, So
Yeah.
I was like, never again.
I can't even make spaghetti in my kitchen without my wife getting mad.
So,
He's like, you seasoning the whole stove?
Chris, you actually know how to cook.
Yeah.
Where did you like begin your culinary? I guess is it something you enjoy doing, or is it just the business that attracted you?
Well, it's funny because all the males in my family, like since we were kids, could always cook. Like from my father to like brothers, like everyone could always cook. And then I think it was like junior year of high school, we had to pick an elective, and I was like, man, all the electives they threw at me, where I'm just like, man, I'm not doing that. And then they're like the cooking class, and I was like, you know what? There's gonna be girls in there, so I'm gonna do it. So I took that class, and I think we got a project to pick a meal and make it. And I picked some Cuban dish that I still like do till this day, and it came out so good. I was like, shit, I'm good at this. And I just took it from there, and then with my mother's business, and I just kind of intertwined everything, and then I started learning about people person, and I was like, this is the route. And then like the best feeling about it is when people like Jamal, like who are picky eaters, tell you like, man, that shit was banging.
Right.
Like that's like the satisfaction I get out of it. There's no better feeling than hearing a picky eater tell you your food is good.
Yeah, I ate that shit for like 3 days straight, dog.
Literally said that shit.
That shit for like 3 days straight.
I'm eating Christian right now.
Yeah, we had so much
Right.
leftovers. Yeah, I brought it home, and because my wife was excited about it too. But I told her what the menu was, so I brought some home. She killed it, and I just had so much leftovers. I eat that shit for 3 days straight. Throw it in the little air fryer, warmed it up.
Right.
The air fryer is magic, yo.
Magic,
They are.
magic,
They are.
magic. Like, let's not even get into that. But that's,
You're right. That's a whole nother-
I'll take y'all on a journey with the air fryers.
We're about to have a whole show dedicated to air fryer
I made some
recipes.
air fried turkey wings for New Year's.
So, everything in the air fryer, bro.
Man. So you just self-started your cooking journey. You just pretty much
Yeah.
self-taught, right?
And pretty much self-taught. And then when I started working around different chefs, I started picking up different things from them.
Yeah.
And learning different styles and different ways of doing things. And because I lived overseas half my childhood, I was exposed to different cultures, different foods. So I always had a broad palate, you know. And part of the way I wanted to separate myself from other catering companies was, people say, well, what do you guys do? Italian, American? No, we do everything.
Yeah.
Like legit, we can do, and all the chefs who work with me, they're multi-talented in different cultures. And it's authentic as all hell.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want Italian, we can do Italian. You want Moroccan, we can do Moroccan. You want French, we can do French. You want Jamaican, we can do Jamaican. I can do everything authentic.
How many chefs you have?
I have 5 total. 5, and I have my main guy, Byron. He does the bulk of things, and I try to handle that, alleviates me to do the business side. So he'll take care of that. And
shout out.
They're all talented as shit. All of them.
That's what's up, man.
That's dope,
Yeah.
bro.
So, I mean, now that we got some of the semantics out of the way, and especially over this holiday, I've had some experiences with businesses that happen to be owned by black people. I like to call them black-owned businesses, right? So,
Right.
what are some of your horror experiences that you've had with some businesses uh, that may have been black run?
I Man, I have a few, and me and my oldest brother were talking about this a few months ago because it's like you want to support your own, right?
Yep.
And you want to keep things like back in the day. I worked for a Greek dude at a restaurant, and I learned a lot from him because everyone he messed with was Greek. His dude who did his refrigeration was Greek. The person who he got his product from was Greek. Like they had a whole network.
Greek connection, right?
Right, and they just worked with each other. So I was like, so we try to do the same thing. But sometimes, like I think my brother was getting something done with his bathroom, like plumbing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the contractors were. One of the stories was the guys came like 4 hours late. So when they show up, my brother's like, "What's up?" And they're like, "Oh, he didn't pay us." So my brother's like, "What the fuck does that have to do with me? Like he was paid." Like that has nothing to do with me. And it's like, like I said, some black businesses, they don't help themselves. Like we're working with these group of guys, these cousins. They have this event called Sip and Spades they do in the city. And it's a
That
dope
actually
vibe.
sounds very fire.
Oh,
Sip and
it's
Spades?
a dope
Sip and
vibe. Yeah.
Spades.
So what they do is they
Chris,
get.
after this, you're gonna have to give me that info, dog.
I got you.
I know
you.
we
hear
in
about let's
COVID,
hear
but
the
when
story
they pop
first.
back up, I kind of want. He said, "Let's hear the story."
Got
Let's hear the story first.
So,
Go ahead, Chris.
So what they do is they're sponsored by a liquor company every event, a different liquor company, and they have a signature drink. They hire us for the food, and they go about all their stuff. So we met this dude at this event we were doing last year, and he's like, the first thing he said to me was like, he bought food from us. He's like, "Man, this shit is official," and he's like, "We do these events. I want to use you guys. What's up?" And then I was like, "Cool." He's like, "But I'm just letting you know, the last black catering company I used, the dude showed up after the event with the food."
Oh my god!
And he was like, and then, he came like everything was cool. And he's like, "We try to support our own, but I can't move that way."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Look," and like I said to you at the beginning, I said, "Look, dude," I said, "I move on white people time." I said, "So you don't got to worry about us." And the first event we did for him, we were the first vendor there. That's just the way I like things done, because you can troubleshoot anything that's going to happen at that point. The earlier you are, the more prepared you are. So I've experienced, like, forget black business. I've experienced stuff with black chefs I've hired.
Mm-hmm.
I had one chef years ago. He used to be Puffy's personal chef, Tyson Chandler, a couple people, but the dude was just like, he was bugged out. Like, we did a wedding, did a tasting, everything was final. The wedding, the day before the wedding, my partner calls me and goes, "Hey, yeah, so doesn't want to make this appetizer." I'm like, "What do you mean he doesn't want to make this appetizer?" He says it's going to be too much labor, so he doesn't want to do it. Call the client and make something else. I'm like, who the fuck says that?
Yeah,
This is a contract. This isn't he doesn't call the shots.
right.
Like, how does that look? Me calling the client and saying, "Hey, yeah, so remember that menu you picked? Yeah, we're gonna have to take this thing out and sub it with da 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 da."
Because the chef don't want to do it.
Yeah, because he don't want to do it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, who acts like that? Like, what kind of?
It's funny that you talk about the plumber situation, right? So over the holiday, and so one of my rental properties. I feel weird saying that, right? But one of my rental properties.
Damn, son. Like, yo, did he just sprinkle clout on his mic?
Yeah, that's a humble flex, right? A humble flex.
I was
Very
really,
humble
I was
flex.
trying to put it the best way without
You know
flexing.
what I'm saying? That was bad Trumpy, yo.
It sounded douchebaggy.
One of my properties.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm only losing money, so it's whatever. So very Trumpy. Funny, one evening, my tenant texts me and she sends me a video of like water leaking from the ceiling. So I'm like, oh shit! And this was the day after we had that snowstorm. So I'm like, all right, I don't know if this is the radiator. I don't know if it's some leak in the roof coming down to the first floor, which is weird because it's the first floor, there's a second floor and an attic. So I'm like, I don't know who to call. Like, do I call a contractor? Do I call a plumber? She said the water was cold, so I figured if it was the radiator, it would be warm or hot. Shouts to Rick, founder of Freedom Academy. I reached out to Rick, because he does everything from flipping houses to selling houses and all that stuff. So I figured, you know what? Let me reach out, to Rick, see a vendor he uses, a contractor he uses, a plumber he uses, just to give it to our own, right? So he's like, yeah, no problem. Shoots me over the number, call the dude, and it was Christmas Eve, so I didn't expect the dude to come out immediately.
Right.
So I call him. I'm like, hey man, you referred to me by Rick, and I sent him the video of what was happening, some pictures, and I'm like, this is happening. And he's like, yeah, well, it's Christmas Eve right now. I'm out shopping. Is it possible you can give me a call back on Monday? And this is Thursday. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. I understand. It's all good, man. Pick a little sun up for me, just try to make it, try to build a rapport here. And yeah, man. So I reached out to homeboy on Monday, and I'm like, yeah, this is Jamal. We spoke on Thursday, and he was like, yeah. So I'm describing what's happening to him. I'm like, I think it's coming from the radiator, it's leaking down. He's like, oh, it's just the valve. We got to change out the valve. I'm like, yo, dog, it's not the valve. I know what a valve is and what a valve does. This is in the walls. Like this is happening. And he was like, oh, so we gonna have to like rip out the wall and all that shit, right? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. He was like, yeah, I ain't got time for that. Click.
Nah.
Wow.
I was like, wait. So I had to look at the phone to make sure that nigga really bagged on me, first of all. And I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? First of all, this nigga made me wait 4 days, right, to call him back to address the issue. Mind you, this shit's still leaking as we speak.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not really that bad, but I could have called anybody else, but
Right.
again, me making the effort to give the opportunity to our own, man, just banged on me 4 days later.
Right. And that's the thing with it. It's like you want to help your own, but I guess it goes to like that situation that happened with that restaurant in Texas with the girls twerking, right?
Yeah.
And remember, some people, like I went on Twitter and man, some of the takes on it were fucking insane what people were saying.
Right.
So like one thing, like the dude, people are like, all right, the guy doesn't want twerking over there, da da da, and other people are like, yeah, they should be able to do what they want. And and one person put something like, you LLC Negroes are so uppity and da 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 da, and so conform to wanting to act like the white man. And I think that's like, it goes both ways, as in the sense is, why if we talk proper and carry ourselves certain way, why does it have to be we're acting white, right?
Right.
And then on the other side of it, it is, if you want to run a business and do everything, you can't act like a nigga. And I say that in the sense that you can't move on your own time and do crazy things. Like it like Naldo said, take out the black owned business, right? It's a business. So run it as a business. Don't perpetrate a stereotype. Well, they're never on time. The work is always shot. Da da da. Like that goes both ways. If you guys get what I'm saying, like
yeah. It's funny because you mentioned that incident, because when I saw the incident, like initially before like all the backlash and everything came for it, like I was kind of feeling the dude. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a business, you have a mind, a vision for what you want your business to be, right?
Right.
And if I went to that spot, right, and I have a certain expectation or a level of professionalism in the place that I go, like I wouldn't want to see that. You know what I mean? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, but on the other side, I do understand that, as people of color, like, sometimes we want a place for us, right? We want a place where we can go and kind of, like Marianne was on last time. She was talking about the bougie brunch that they go to, whatever, bougie brunch, whatever that shit is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is specifically catered to that type of demographic. You know what I mean? Like those people who want to go and have that type of interaction with their friends and one another. Like that's specifically catered to that. But then when you go into another establishment, that's not the vibe, that's not the move, that's not the style.
Yeah.
Like you have to exercise your own level of I guess, professionalism when you're going to these
Right.
places, because not everybody wants to see that, and it's
Or
not.
just restraint.
You're straight,
Like,
right?
Right.
talk about the bougie brunch or whatever. Like, it's built for that.
Right. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Fire got people twerking on it. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, it's that vibe, right?
Right.
I don't know. Naldo, are you familiar about this story about what happened?
The one in Houston that you guys talking about?
It was in Dallas.
Dallas.
It was in Dallas.
Something about a
black-owned
restaurant,
business. It
people
was a
started
really
dancing.
nice restaurant. I happened to
Right.
have a DJ there, and then I guess the turn up got real. People was getting on the tables, twerking, so on and so forth. My man came out, shut the music down, went like on a little bit of a rant about his establishment, making people sit down. And if you don't want to respect, I don't need your money. Period. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so I say all that, I kind of give that description just to say this, like, yo, bro, like, that's his business. I'm with you, Deuce. Like, this his business. He has
Right.
his vision for it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's not because he's black. It's because that's his vision for his establishment. And because you see the owner and that he's black, you feel as though you have certain kind of like in town. Yo, bro, if you fall and bust your head off that table, man, he got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And you damn sure going to sue him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so obviously, like, you know what I'm saying? And from the video, some of the tables look glass. Like, come on, son. Like, let's be real, right? So, he said what he said, and I saw it too, Chris. Everybody was like coming for him, like this and that. But then again, you had a few, like, but it kind of upset me that it was just so few people that were like, yo, man, like, that's his shit. Respect his shit. Like,
There's definitely time and place for everything.
Yeah.
But I also think when we also say looking at things from like the lens of professionalism and the lens of this, just know that the lenses that we are looking at everything from is from like a white dominated European lens. If you go back to, even if you look at like African cultures or ancient, like, indigenous cultures, whenever they have meals or feasts, it is usually accompanied by like dancing and storytelling or some type of like, movement activity. It's not just like sitting at a table and eating, which is sometimes very much a European or white style of dining. You know what I mean? Like our dining was a lot more different.
But how
than
was that differentiated with his restaurant, everybody else? Is it just because
But-
he's black?
No, that's what I'm saying. There's a time and place for everything. So I agree with you guys. However he wants to run his restaurant, that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like, even if he has a DJ and he's playing like the twerking music, you could do all that and not want people to dance and twerk at your restaurant.
Right.
But at the same time, it's gonna happen, and you just gotta address it every time. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's also a difference between traditional rhythmic dancing and pussy popping on a handstand.
No,
and,
it's
and
not a
what,
difference.
It's not a
and what they
difference.
didn't show is apparently dude talked to them privately like 3 times prior to that.
Right.
And there was other videos, but of course the one that went viral was him cursing out the
Was
restaurant.
when he snapped, right.
Right. And that's why he snapped.
The other part is this, right? The other part of the black-owned business or having a black-owned business is such that just because you see that the owner's black don't mean that you're entitled to act a fool either, bro.
yeah,
That's
Act a
the
fool,
other part.
Get a discount.
this count.
That was getting to that exactly, Chris. Like, you know what I'm saying? All right, they walked in there. They was like, oh, man, this place kind of nice, whatever, man. And then they seen the owner, and he had a DJ that was playing all the, the strip club hits. And you're like, oh, we out here. You know what I'm saying? Now, this boozy brunch now. Like, no, it's not. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is my establishment. And he's like, you going to walk up to the owner afterwards, like, yo, bro, I really like what you got going on here, man. So, like, what can you do for me? Like, bruh. And it goes back to what Marianne was saying last week. Yo, as a black-owned business, man, you should not be going in there doing $90,000 worth of work and expecting $30,000 for it, bro.
Right.
Like, you can't be taking. If anything, if you really want to support this black-owned business, bro, hook him up and then throw a little tip in there, bro, because it's hard, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, to get things started and do what you got to do. On top of that, my man Chris said he had to hide his face from his IG to maintain credibility, which is a real live thing.
Yeah. But I also think that, if you are going to have a DJ, it's your shit. Like, you have to establish with him the vibe of what's happening.
Have a right playlist.
Like, even
That's
at my
true.
wedding, even at my wedding, like, I told the DJ, I don't want no rap music. Like, if you was at my wedding, we'd have any rap music at my wedding, because that's not the vibe I wanted. You didn't even notice, right? Because you just had a good ass time.
Not even 90s rap?
I mean, we a little bit. Not like
He ain't want no trap. He ain't want, like, you know what I mean?
I can understand. Yeah, that
nah.
trash.
Yeah, but even that, we didn't really have very much '90s rap. But yeah, like I didn't want that vibe in my wedding. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want pictures in my wedding with people like popping on the handstand, backing that ass up. You know what I'm saying? Like great, like
Right.
back that ass up. My favorite song, by the way. But you know, like I didn't want that vibe in my wedding. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think it's important to establish that. You know, when you're hiring the DJ to like, yeah, this is the vibe I'm going for. You know, we don't want this type of element in what's happening at this brunch or whatever the case is. So
Regardless
true.
of what he was playing, yo, nobody should have been on that table
oh yeah, for sure.
Listen,
working
music-
on the prongs, yo.
Music,
Like,
music gets a reaction from people.
It does.
Speaks to the soul and energy. So actually, now that you said that, Deuce, yeah, it is very much up to the DJ and the owner to be like, this is the vibe I want. Because if you're gonna play music where people are gonna, it's gonna excite people and get their hearts going and stuff like that. Yeah, it's what you expect. Like,
But you know, it's also true. Like I said, I've had plenty of black clients that basically they'll tell me we want lobster, we want this, we want that, but I only want to pay $10 per person.
it's not happening, bro.
So it's not even is it not happening? It's not realistic,
I get macaroni and cheese, bro.
right?
No
white rice.
blueberries.
You know what I'm saying? And
No
and then-
blueberries in your mac
Right.
and cheese, dog.
And then they look at me like, oh well, you know, you're one of us. You should be hooking me up. Nah, it don't work like I'll take care of you. Like the guys that was on the Sip and Spades, like we worked together, but it was because we were building, right, a relationship. So it's like I'm gonna take care of them, but I know they're gonna keep using me. So
It's an
there has to be,
investment.
like on both sides. So that's a different story. But if you're coming up to me, and what upsets me with that is like you're not going to any white caterer doing that.
Yeah.
I know you're not. But you want to try me with that? Like, come on, you know?
They come in the meeting like, cousin, what's up, baby?
You
Especially
know?
you had the pictures at the beginning. You walk in the door, and they're like, yes. Yes.
Meanwhile, they was on the ground where it was like, yo, I don't know what the chef look like. Yeah, this food look popping. You walk in
Champagne,
like,
taste,
"What's
beer,
going on,
money."
Chris?" You're
Right.
like, oh, thank God, yo. Cousin, what's
Yeah.
up? You got your knock on 15 off the top? Like,
Right.
It's like, nah,
And
I'm still trying to be able to promote my face.
Right. And it's just been like this. It's just like the whole thing with black business. Like it's just everything's been funny, especially the last year. It's like I see a lot of like all right when all the protesting was happening, right? I'm seeing all these white people I know say post on their Instagram stories, support black business, support da da da. You know, never seen that shit before in my life. And I'm looking at it like, motherfucker, I'm a black business. You know me. You wasn't talking that shit before the protest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't hear any of that before the protest.
Did you
It's
get
trending.
info? Did
was
business
trending.
pick up after, protesters and all that stuff?
No,
No.
but
It was just
like I
trending.
went out there, and went after stuff, and I had a couple of friends who were promoting, but I don't know. I just found stuff like that funny to see people like really like, oh yeah, this is a black-owned business. Support that. Support this. I'm like, man, I'm the one token black guy you know.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna push anything, you should be pushing my company.
Right.
Right. You know me.
You
Like,
Right.
don't
Right.
say a not like a random one.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Get
So
specific.
right. It's been interesting. Like I sit back and look at some stuff and I just laugh. I'm like,
My black-owned business experience. I went to a Haitian restaurant, and for those of you who've been to a Haitian restaurant already know what the expectations are when you get there, right?
Yeah, first of all, it's like Starbucks. You got to know the language before you walk in. Man.
And then, even when you dine in, they'll serve you in like to-go containers. So you might even be dining in, sitting in, and they're gonna give it to you in a styrofoam to-go platter with plastic forks and knives, and maybe a napkin. So I'm not gonna say their name, but I went to this Haitian restaurant. It's a bakery, and I got there, and the line was like ridiculous. They had like raving reviews. Apparently, it's a place to go. Got there, it was like a 2 hour. I probably literally waited 2 hours online just to like get in there, and it's probably due to all the regulations and stuff with COVID. Like they can't have too many
Yeah.
people in there at a certain time.
Yeah.
It's a fresh bakery, so they're making things as you order, so to speak. They just are baking all day. But then, when I finally get up there to order and I hear people who are like, oh yeah, like you could just order online and come and pick up. And then they're waiting like 20 minutes. And I'm like, damn. Like, that's how you know it's crazy. If you order online, You know, like you give the grace period or whatever, then you actually drive there and still get there and still have to wait 20 minutes. And it's like, man, just when you think Haitians had it in order, you know what I mean? Like even they take out curbside pickup. It's not even really curbside pickup. It's just curbside wait. It's kind of crazy. But it's just the expectations, you know? And that's sadly, it's my expectation for every like Haitian restaurant or Caribbean restaurant. There's a Jamaican restaurant literally across the street from my house. And like I went in there once. I don't even remember what I asked for, but basically it wasn't happening. Like they wasn't serving food that day.
We open, but we're not serving food.
Open, but they just didn't have no food to serve. And every day since then, like every time I walk by, I'm like, I don't even know if this place is open or not because the lights are never on. It's all tinted, like, and there's no cars ever out there. Like I don't even know what they're doing there.
Yo, that's probably the most
Jamaican
Jamaican thing I've ever heard, yo.
Was it good though, Naldo? The Haitian patties?
Yeah, right. Was it good?
No, I'm actually so.
What?
It actually, I'm gonna start, and I'm very picky because my dad's like a baker. You know what I mean? Like he's been making Haitian treats since I was a little kid. So I'm very critical about it. So I like dissected it, opened it up. I'm like, you know what? It actually makes me want to make my own Haitian patties this year.
What flavor did you get?
I got all three. I had to try everything. I got the pori, I got the fish, the beef, and the chicken. I had to try.
You said it in
everything.
curl. You said the
I was about to, but then I was like, "Oh, they can't translate on a podcast. No captions. No captions on a podcast."
I was the only one that was like, okay.
I was like, which one was that? Was that the beef?
But yeah,
chicken?
it's the codfish, beef, and chicken, and I'm gonna try to make my own. It's something that I usually don't typically like following recipes. I like to cook. I like exploring and mixing things, but I don't like following recipes. Reg, when I hear you like making cakes and pies and stuff, that's why I'm so thoroughly impressed because I'm
it's
like,
not even off of like recipes. Like I'll read a few of them, like and I'll take what I like out of them all, and like kind of like throw it together. Like I don't like following recipes either, man. Otherwise, I feel like it's not mine. Like,
yeah.
So I like to mix and match and do like different shit. You know what I'm saying? But like I needless to say, like Chris, you said you've been hooking your wife up, man. My wife is pissed off at me, boy, because she was like, "Yo, what are you doing to me? Cookies and shit." Like,
Yeah, that's me.
Do you have any kids?
no, man, no kids.
So tell your wife you'll get that payback when you guys have kids because when she's pregnant, she's gonna have you eating all the shit you don't want to eat.
Yep.
So let's tell her you're just getting her back early.
Crazy, man.
Shit right now.
But she loves all this shit, and I'm hooking up Deuce. I be using this like the gifts and stuff, man. But like, word no though. If you do end up coming up here, man, bring that that your Haitian patty recipe up here. We're gonna have a little bake off, bro.
I've done for sure. I'm gonna be practicing. I'm gonna practice that. I'm practice the soup jumu. I'm tired of buying Haitian food out, yo. When I can make it myself, it's just the convenience of it. But something like eating food that you made yourself.
Chris, you dabble in Haitian cuisine, bro?
I've never done it, but like I said, you give me something, we can do it. Like I look at kind of like what Naldo said. Like me personally, whenever I cook anything, I look at a recipe and I'll use like 2-3 ingredients from it, and I'll tweak it to what I think it should be.
It should be right.
And then but for authentic stuff, like if I know I'm doing Haitian dishes for a Haitian person, I'm doing it down to the T. I want them to feel like they're back home, that's the vibe you want,
Yeah.
Specifically what you're looking for.
Right. So I want it to the point they look at me and they're like, "Oh, are you Haitian?"
Yeah, right.
I want to hear that shit,
Actually got to speak to a person that owns his own business. We're not gonna call it black owned no more, man. We can't.
Yeah, I like that.
It's the owner of a business that just happens to be black, bro. Brother Chris Perryman. And you could drop that the name of the company one more time, bro.
Yeah, CA Catering Events. The website is CA Catering, www.cateringevents.com. The IG is CA Catering Events. And like I said, we do everything. I'm just gonna throw one more little package we do out there. Since restaurants are closed and everything, we have one. Excuse me, we have one package called Jazz in Your Living Room. And what it is basically is you get a trio or quartet of anything from Grammy-nominated jazz musicians until up and coming, and a 4-course meal with a private chef and a waitress, and they'll play in your house. Everyone's COVID tested regularly. All regulations are followed, and that's one of the packages we're offering right now. Mm-hmm. So we do everything from weddings, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, birthday parties, everything, anything you can think of. So definitely, I appreciate y'all let me on your platform to promote and talk. You know, you guys have a great platform. Like I said, I've been subscribed prior, so I've been listening to stuff,
Oh man,
and
that's what's up,
I like
man.
what y'all been doing. And
You one of the 26 people that be looking us out, man.
yeah, I'm on Spotify with y'all. You know, I found y'all on there. I told you a few months ago, and I found y'all on there, and I was like, you know, I like listening to podcasts, especially if it's of substance that I like listening to.
Right.
You know, and I'm listening to y'all got 3 different opinions. Always got someone else on, and it's funny hearing like what was the last one I was listening to, The Social Living, a few weeks ago, and it's just funny, man. Like I don't know who was saying it. One of y'all were talking about when you were watching the Netflix thing, the Social Dilemma. How you're looking at your phone like, God damn, and that's how I felt. You know, so I like stuff I can relate to. You know, so you know, y'all keep doing your thing, and I appreciate y'all having me on, man. For real.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you,
bro. Appreciate that
Thanks,
feedback,
brother.
man.
Well, that's the podcast. Like, follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, review us, all that good stuff.
Son, share the damn podcast.
Don't forget to share.
There you go.
Don't forget to share.